what's up? We back today, baddies. Ooh, not baddies, bad boys. Bad Boys episode 3. We are here. Like I always do, thank y'all again so much for supporting, watching the videos. Continue doing what you're doing. These videos are doing great. The subscribers are coming in. I appreciate that. Please, again, thumbs up the video, drop a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about the show, what you think about my thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already. But let's go ahead and get into this. So we're wasting no time. We immediately get to the next day and we have Moolah and Curtis. And Moolah and Curtis are sitting outside and they're basically just rehashing everything that happened the night before. And they're basically saying, like, Curtis is basically saying like he feels like the rest of them are against the two of them. Basically feeling like the rest of them think that it's Moolah and Curtis thinking it's the gays versus the straights. And both of them are saying that they're not feeling that way. They're not feeling like that was their intention. That's not what they were trying to do. They don't want to feel like, they don't want them to feel like they're against the gay community. So in this scene, it's looking like they're both feeling remorseful in the way that everything went down. But Moolah is saying that he didn't feel like he was wrong for hitting Kerrion or even really asking him questions about who he is and what he stands on with his sexuality. So as they're having this conversation, basically Moolah is saying too, the reason why he actually pressed him about it was because he feels like out of everybody in the entire house, Kerrion was the only one that didn't give a real definitive answer on where he stands in his sexuality. So that's why he pressed him. He just wanted to know where he stood, and he said that's what he's saying. He just wanted to know where he stood so he could see how he is in his house. So who knows what that means really. But Milan joins both of them, and at this point, like I told y'all in the first two reviews that I did, Milan, I mean, he's the only one that I've just, thinking on paper, he's the only one that I've known prior to this show, like known of, besides Where the Money Resides. But Milan, I wasn't like necessarily a fan of him. But in this whole scene, I gotta tell you, I respect him. I respect him a lot in this scene because he really just stood 10 toes down, stood firm in his convictions, and was really like, in a way, checking them, but still like trying to hear him out too. He joined them, and Curtis immediately was like, yo, like, I feel like he was fucked up for swinging on me, which I do. Like I said, I agree. I feel like that was fucked up because, I mean, you can't swing. I feel like if you're gonna swing on somebody, at least give them the chance to get up and square up, and then just do that one-on-one. Like, if you really want to fight somebody, just let them know you want to fight, let them square up, and then do what you got to do. Don't be sneaking nobody. So yeah, he was pissed off about that. And Milan was basically trying to figure out why Moolah thought it was okay to be pressing Kerrion about his sexuality, and just kind of like really saying like you don't have a right to really press him for that if he didn't feel comfortable to even say that. And then he's basically saying like, why do you feel like you needed to hit him? Because he wasn't giving you what you wanted to hear. And Moolah was basically saying like he hit him because he was just getting loud and bucking up and kind of just like with the rah-rah energy, and that's where he felt like he needed to kind of assert his dominance. That's just kind of where they both were coming from. Moolah was basically saying like apparently Moolah and Milan have like an existing friendship prior to the show. Moolah had Milan on his radio show at some point, and basically he's saying like, I respect you, I respect you, I respect the gay community. I don't want you to feel like I don't respect y'all. And that's where he's coming from. He said, and he even owned up to it. He owned up to the fact that maybe his words and his wording did not come out the way that it should have. He said that he was drinking and he's not somebody that typically drinks. And like I said in the first episode, I think I said it in the first episode, I feel like his wording was just off. I feel like I can understand where he was trying to come from while asking him, but I feel like his wording could have been better because it's like the way he worded it, it was like, okay, so if you tell me that you gay and you can't rock with me. That's kind of where the energy was coming from. And he owned up to that his wording was wrong. He doesn't have any issues with the gay community. And Milan was basically saying like, even if he was gay or even if he was bisexual or whatnot, basically, and he brought up this very, very good analogy, basically saying it's looking like if you was a white man asking me, a black man, if I'm black or white, I can't be standing with you, I can't be friends with you because you white and I'm black. So that was a good analogy to put it together. But they kind of got to a point where they were on common ground where Milan was like, that is what it is. And Moolah was basically like, I apologize for offending you, and I don't want to offend you. That's not my goal. And they kind of deaded that there. And then Curtis was basically like, I don't respect how you ended up hitting me, and I feel like if anything, you owe me an apology for hitting me on the side. And Milan was like, yeah, I'll give you an apology for that because I shouldn't have hit you on the side, but I felt like you was trying to jump in, which is why I decided to hit you. And that's why I say I can respect Milan in this scene, because he was standing firm in his convictions. He stood firm by his actions. And he still, in a way, stood up for Kerrion, and I feel like it was justified, and I feel like it was deserved. A good way of sticking up, but using your words and really kind of, in a way, giving them some type of idea of what y'all go through. So I feel like this is a pretty productive scene, so we'll see what happens next. So we get the next scene, and in the next scene we got Karlion, Darrell, and Gutta. They are outside on what looks like the porch or the balcony. And they basically just kind of having a rehash of the fight between Kerrion and Moolah. And Kerrion is basically saying that him and Moolah are going to have to sit down and have a discussion about the fight. He said that punch was weak, and he's still reiterating that punch was weak. It didn't do too much damage to him, so it is what it is. But Gutta feels like he needs to go ahead and sit in on that conversation as well. And Darrell is basically like, so why you got to sit in on it? Like, y'all dating? What's the deal? Like, Darrell feels like something's going on between the two of them. And they both are kind of flirting with him. I wouldn't even say Kerrion is really flirting with him, with Gutta, but Gutta is definitely putting some moves on him. I can see it now. But they basically all agree that, I mean, the whole situation that really happened between the two of them could have been prevented. They feel like they shouldn't have really been pressing him about his sexuality and whatnot. Like I said, we discussed this, a lot of the same thing being rehashed. But then we get on, they basically start talking about Darrell and his fights with Dylan and William, which is funny because it's like, that was like in the same day. To us, it looks like it might have been 2 different days because we're now on episode 3 and it's only been 2 days of coverage. But that was the same day, so that's the funny part. But they started talking about their fight, and they're basically saying like they don't understand why him and Will had fought, because apparently Will and Darrell are friends. Darrell said that he met him back in the summertime, and basically the same situation. He said Will is the type to kind of talk about he gonna do this and do that and basically fight somebody, and then whenever it comes time to fight, they ain't gonna fight. And Darrell's basically saying that he told him back in the day, like, when you do that stuff, you don't fight, I'm gonna fight you. AKA, like, in a way, kind of hazing him. Like, if you gonna run that mouth, if you gonna run your mouth and talk that shit, then you gotta back it up. Like, really throw down. And I understand where he's coming from with that, because I can't stand people that do that. I can't stand somebody that sits around and talks about how they gonna do this and do that, and then when the time comes, you don't do it. Like, what's the point in even talking? So I see where he was coming from with that, but it was like, you shouldn't have been doing that. Like, calm down. You too busy fighting everybody. And Darrell's like, I'm the type, I'll fight whoever, I don't care. And his energy is given like, he will fight, regardless if he getting his ass whooped or winning the fight. He will fight and he will get what he got. And I respect it. I respect it, because I'm the same way. I've always said, if somebody comes to me on some rah-rah shit, regardless of who you are, how big you are, if you come at me, I'm going to swing. And if you don't knock me out, then deal with it. But that's just the kind of energy they was on. And then we get the next scene, which is William and Dylan. And I completely forgot they were on the episode, or even on the show, really, truthfully, until this moment. And the first thing they was talking about a bunch of nothing. They was kind of rehashing the same situations that they were doing. But they were just, the main thing with me, with these white boys, especially the white gay boys, they talk with this black scene. And that's one thing that, it was irritating my soul just watching this whole scene, because they kept talking with it. And it was just like, it's hard for me to really follow anything else they were saying, because that was just the only thing I was focused on. But, I mean, they basically were saying the same thing. William was saying, like, Darrell is his friend. He don't understand why he was fighting him when he's supposed to be his boy and whatnot. And then saying, like, how Milan had stuck up for Dylan. And Dylan was saying, like, he was scared with all the fights and stuff. Like I said, I could already tell that he was scared. He wasn't really about the action that he was claiming that he was about. And like Darrell said, I feel like that applies to Dylan. Dylan was the one that was really running his mouth the most, talking about how he's really about that action and he's some gangster and some shit. But when it came down to fighting, he was too scared. And anytime somebody else was fighting, he looked like he was literally a fucking baby sitting there watching his parents fight. But I mean, that's just kind of where we got to it, so we're gonna see what's happening next. This scene was funny. Okay, so we get Kerrion, Moolah, and Curtis in this scene. Kerrion pulls up to the kitchen, and in the kitchen is Moolah and Curtis. They're a package deal. They're always together. And it was so funny in this scene because Kerrion immediately comes up and is like pressing them, coming on the same energy that they low-key was coming with him. Well, high-key, I should say. He kept asking them questions like, where y'all from? And then they say they from the same place. Oh, so y'all know each other. Why y'all always together? Do y'all run together? He's just asking these questions, kind of trying to, in a way, give them that same energy so they can see where he's coming from, which I was laughing my ass off because it's so funny because it's like, yeah, that's the way you got to do it sometimes. You got to do reverse psychology with people. In a way, it's like when somebody's trying to get you riled up and get like a rise out of you, give them that same energy they just gave you back, or at least flip it and try to do the same thing they just did to you to them and see how they act. And in a way, they was kind of like sweating it. And well, Curtis was sweating it more than Moolah. Moolah kept his chill, but Curtis was like, why are you asking all these questions? Yada, yada, yada. We straight. Kept on repeating it again. And he's like, so why you always got to say that? Why you got to keep saying you straight? Da, da, da. So he was kind of pressing him. And this scene was funny. But after a while, Moolah got sick of him asking questions. So he asked him again. So I'm going to ask you this again. Do you like men or women? And Kerrion is still going back and forth, doing the whole, like, still asking questions and whatnot. And he's like, so why does it matter? Like, why are you asking me these questions? Like, I'm starting to look at you a little different. And why are you looking at me like this? Da, 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 da. So Moolah is laughing. Curtis starts laughing. And Kerrion is just still sitting there pressing him. And it's funny, too, because immediately they basically start asking him over and over again about his sexuality. And Kerrion's like, it don't matter, but if you really want to catch his fade again, we can do some one-on-one fades. And he's basically saying, like, y'all don't want no smoke with me. Like, that little punch that you gave me, I ate that punch. Like, it was nothing. If you want to run that fade again, we can run it again. And one thing that he said that made me go, oh, he said, like, just give me 3 minutes with you. I don't know about y'all. I ain't never been in a fight for 3 minutes. So Kerrion must have some endurance, because fighting for 3 minutes, that's a long time. 30 seconds, a 30-second fight, that takes a lot out of him. So Kerrion, he talking a big game. I don't know if he can really back it up. I didn't really see too much in that one fight, but we'll see. But it got funny because then at the end, they continued to ask him again, especially Moolah. Moolah was really, really assertive with it. And he's like, I just want to know, like, what's the deal? Like, do you like men or do you like women? And after beating around the bush and kind of going around and weaving around the question, Kerrion eventually says, you can call me bisexual. And he says, like, men hit on him, women hit on him. He gets all the attention in his DMs, yada, yada, yada. And whenever he finally said that, they were kind of taken aback. And it looked like, oh, okay. And then he starts laughing and stuff. And then Curtis is like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, we're just trying to get some women in here. And Kerrion asked him, like, have y'all called any women? Like, do y'all know any women out here in LA? And they just sitting there like, no. And then he's like, I mean, I got it. And he's basically sitting there telling them, like, y'all sitting here sweating me and pressing me about my sexuality. All you had to do was ask me and I can get you some women in here. He walks away and they ended up saying he's kind of suspect and whatnot. So here we go. All right, so then we get a little quick scene with Milan and Anthony. Anthony, I forgot he was here too. And so there's a moment he just walked in and he's basically filling him up on the conversation that he had with Curtis and Moolah, basically pressing them and checking them about how they came at Kerrion and how they don't want to feel uncomfortable because they're the only straight men in the house. He's saying, like, I don't want y'all making them people feel uncomfortable for being gay. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can respect that. Like, from both ends, like, nobody should be feeling uncomfortable because of their sexuality. Why the fuck does that matter? Like, straight, gay, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, whatever. Who cares? Like, just be yourself. That's all that should really matter at the end of the day. And that's kind of what Milan was saying. In a way, I feel like it's funny because I feel like each episode somebody has a redeeming quality that really takes over the episode. And right now, Milan is the one for the episode. Like I told y'all, Gutta was my favorite last episode. I forget who was my favorite. I had like 4 favorites for the first episode, but everybody has like some redeeming qualities, which is good to see. But they ended up calling Natalie, and Natalie is basically telling them all to pull up, get ready, and get excited because they're going to some industry party that is pretty much hosted by Zeus. She's claiming there's some celebrities that'll be there and whatnot, and basically telling them, like, come on your best behavior. Don't come on here with some rah-rah shit. Don't be in here fighting. There's too many people here that could be in the who's who's that y'all could be bumping arms with. And basically just telling them, like, come and act like you got some sense. So they all get ready to go. So Milan goes downstairs, gets all the boys together. They all was down there anyways, but he basically was telling them, hey, we're going to this London on the Track party. So London on the Track is the one that is, I guess, the main attraction for this party. So they all get excited, they all get dressed, they all come downstairs, they have their little solo hero shots, whatever. So they all get in the little sprinter bus and they sitting there. I mean, it's a pretty kumbaya-ish scene. It's probably the most cohesive scene they've had. Not much to really talk about. They're always basically just talking about like how they would react whenever they see certain celebrities and whatnot. Dylan saying he ain't never seen nobody before, so he gonna be starstruck and whatnot. Gutta was saying like, the only person he'd fall out for it would be Cardi B. He's a big Cardi B fan. Nicki, he said he'd just be like, what's up, this is Nicki, yada yada. And basically saying like he runs in them circles, so seeing people it's not gonna do nothing to him. Which I agree with. I mean, I ain't really seen too many celebrities in my lifetime, but if I see one, I see one. It ain't like I'm gonna be, ooh, oh my God. Like who try? I hate people to do that, honestly. But me in general, if I see somebody that is famous, what's up? Like, it's really that. It's simple. But, I mean, it was having a good conversation. Milan, like I said, Milan is like the star of the episode. And when I say the star, like, he's the only one that's really doing what's supposed to be done. He's kind of like taking the reins as like the leader, the ringleader. So he's basically just telling them like, what are y'all's opinions on what it is to be a bad boy? And they all kind of coincide with what each other was saying. Kind of coincided with what each other was saying. Kerrion was saying it's like just basically going, marching to the beat of your own drum. Darrell was basically saying the same thing, saying like, you got your own confidence, you don't let nobody else tear you down, you just move about life in a way that you want to move about it. And they all agree with that. Curtis was chiming in saying similar things too, basically saying he makes his own rules, yada yada yada. Then at the end, Moolah is asking them to basically give him a Bad Boys on 2, and they all scream Bad Boys. So it's just like, they had a look good kumbaya moment. It's probably the most that they've gotten along so far, so we gonna see what's happening. Oh shit. So they get to the party. Natalie comes out and gets them out the bus. She giving them a pep talk like they're her kids, and it's just so funny because they all grown men at this point. Like they all probably, I'd say probably 23 to like maybe, what, Milan's 36. So 23 to 36, they grown men. She talking to them like they like 19, 20, 21 year olds. Basically trying to teach them how to behave and go into these parties and whatnot. So they get in the party, they claim the baby's in there because this is the night that fight happened. And they're all just basically in there dancing and stuff and yada yada yada. But it's one thing that I noted was that Milan, Gutta, Kerrion, they all were saying like Will, Dylan, and Darrell was just dancing and twerking and doing too much in the party that's at a bowling alley. Doing too much there, like twerking, and then the main ones that were really twerking, they said that William was twerking on straight dudes and gay dudes, just twerking on everybody. But William ends up messing up by he ends up twerking on Moolah. And this is where I can see where Moolah is coming from, and I can say that he is validated and vindicated on this. He pretty much put his whole stamp on where he stands, and if you cross those lines, then it'll be an issue, which is where I say I respect that, because he said that Will was twerking on him, and that pissed him off, and he called him fruity, but he ended up crossing the line with him, and he was pissed off. Curtis was pissed because he saw that Moolah was not happy. He was trying to figure out what was going on with him. They ended up walking out, but Milan was saying that he was like embarrassed, like the way that he was acting. Will was doing too much for everybody. Everybody, pretty much the general consensus. Just about everybody was saying he was doing too much. So we about to get back to the house, I'm pretty sure, but we'll see. I think it might be the fight, the baby, but that's really all that really happened. All right, so we get Moolah and Curtis outside after they just left out of the party, and they basically just rehashing the same thing I said. They both feel uncomfortable. Moolah saying like, yeah, like you violated me at this point because I done told you what it's gonna be. And basically said like, you just crossed the line with me and I don't appreciate that. And he said he feel like he's being disrespected. And like I said, I completely understand that. Because when you set a precedence and you set a boundary, and somebody goes over that boundary, after you've already said it, then you have the right to feel the way you feel. Just as they would feel the way that they would feel if they crossed the boundaries with them. So I understand that. So we get, the ending of the episode was the little clips of the baby and Danny Lake's brother fighting. Zeus just had to get that in there because it was there. That's just all I had. Because we didn't get to see the beginning of it. We didn't see that. It was just like, oh shit, like this is just happening. Let me go ahead and turn the camera and get it. That's literally the type of clips that we got. But that was the end of the episode. The next episode, it looks like Moolah is going to check Will about him twerking and doing all that stuff on him. And apparently he ends up leaking some stuff too. And the rest of the dudes in the house is all like kind of, it seems like this is going to be Williams' episode to make his exit because everybody else is going to be on his case. So we'll see what happens there. This was pretty much like a filler episode, truthfully. Not too much really happened. But that's my take on it. Y'all know what to do. Drop them comments down below. Thumbs up the video. Hit subscribe. Yeah, we on the road to 100. Not 100. 1,000. Well, 100,000. That would be nice. But we on the road to 1,000. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me again. Thank you. What else? If you want to follow me on social medias, that's in the info box. I got some reviews coming. X on the Beach. Check that out. I did that. But yeah, I'm about to get off of here. The Grammys is on, but I'm not going to watch this live because WrestleMania. I done got into watching that. WWE because of Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. So yeah, I'm going to watch them and hopefully they get their titles. But yeah, if you want to continue to talk with me about the episode and continue to talk to me about stuff that I don't know what happened, drop that down below or hit me on them socials. And I will see y'all next week. If you don't watch X on the Beach reviews with me on Thursdays, but I'll see y'all next Sunday. Hopefully we got something better. Peace!